Have you ever felt like you are not getting ahead in life as fast as you would like? Or maybe there is one area of your life that you want to improve, but you are unsure how to start? Welcome to that Dynamic Duo podcast. In this episode, Anya and I will begin to break down how to develop a personal growth plan tailored just for you. Inspired by John Maxwell's 15 invaluable laws of growth, we'll talk about self awareness and the powerful impact it can have on your life. Whether you are looking to boost your career, find personal fulfillment, get fit and healthier, learn a new language, enhance your relationships, or achieve financial security, then stick around and discover how to achieve the best version of yourself. Let's get started. So, welcome back to the Dynamic Duo podcast. Anya, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. Well, I told you off camera, a little bit of a headache today, but it's getting better. It's not that bad. So I'm just excited about the podcast as always, and got a lot of things done. A lot of things to do still this week. The week is not over, but yeah, looking forward to our podcast today.
Yes, I'm really excited. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into this topic. And I think it's a really important topic because, um, as we mentioned a lot of time, growth doesn't just happen, it's not something that happens automatically. So, it's important to have a plan. If you want to grow, it's important that you create a plan and you think about um, in what areas you want to grow. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, Armando, do you want to share a little bit about your growth plan? How did you start? Or also, what are areas of your growth plan so people could think a little bit and get inspired about the areas they could grow?
Yeah, well, I there are two, or well, maybe but there are more areas. I mentioned two areas of my life last week in our previous episode. If you are here for the first time, the link will be right here, so you can take a look at it, and that's basically the area of fitness in my music area as well, my artistic uh, development in the area of music, and a little bit about the hobby. Well, it's more than a hobby actually, but it's like kind of like a hobby. Our garden, our own, how do you call that? Sustainable uh, garden where we plant some food. So those are three areas that I'm putting a lot of emphasis right now. And the question was how I began with the plan, or how
Yes.
yeah, well, need, I guess that's the basic motivation. I saw the need, and things whenever things do not move, or do not, yeah, grow in the way you think were supposed to grow, or maybe too slow. So then I have to always consider, I have to sit down and take a look at the hard facts. Okay, what am I doing? Why is not functioning something? Let us say fitness, if I'm not um, making progress as was expecting it. I'm not growing enough. I am not doing, my cardio is not as good as I wanted it to be, or whatever my goal at that moment in life is, right? So if something is not working, or I'm unsatisfied with life as it is, that's the green light for me. Okay, let us stop. Let us evaluate things and see what's working, what's not working, and then re-engineer, begin with the end in mind. What do I want to achieve? And then work backwards, and it's re-engineering, I guess, is the word. And let us develop my strategy. And so that's the starting point for me. I was, the need. What do I want to achieve? What is my aspiration?
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting or important place to start. John Maxwell calls it the law of awareness in his book, The 15 Laws of Growth, where he says you have to know yourself to grow yourself. And as you explained, you think about where am I? And I think that's really important that we start by thinking, what's my starting point? Where am I right now? And is this okay or not? And to really be honest with ourselves in this area. Otherwise, we can't really grow from there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that was the motivation. We talked about the poll last week, and a lot of people do not think about it. They do not. They are not self-aware enough. I don't know.
Mhm.
The why people are not self-aware. That's a different question. Why? That would be interesting to know. I mean, I assume people are aware of their lives, or don't, aren't they? I mean, their relationships, how good are they functioning, their finances, uh, their job, their professional life, and so on and so forth. So that would be that's. I'm just thinking about it right now. Sorry, just being aware. I mean, some people are aware. Some people are like really okay. Something is happening here, or something is not happening. But I'm wondering what is happening, quote unquote, in the heads of people uh,
Yeah,
when they do not come to that realization.
I think not everybody thinks about that, to be honest.
Not everyone,
Um,
you mean?
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think, I think a lot of people just go with the flow and
Mm,
happy how it goes, and they don't think about how do I want to grow or change something. I think a lot of people only change something if they're unhappy with how things are, and then they start thinking about where they're at.
mm.
But I think it's better, or I don't want to judge or anything,
No,
but
yeah.
for me, it's it's a lot more fun to start when you're happy, because growing doesn't mean, if I want to grow, it doesn't mean to me that I'm unhappy with how life is right now. I just think I can get better, or I can grow in certain areas. That doesn't mean that I'm not happy with how things are right now. It's just,
That's an interesting point. I mean, don't you think that in that sense, a portion of unhappiness, or well, let us maybe not call it unhappiness, but let us call it maybe unsatisfaction, is necessary if in order to wake up and say like, well, hold on, something needs to change, because I guess if people are satisfied with the way things are, then they don't need a growth plan. Things are working. But sometimes you observe that something is not working in a family or in this person. So they make the same mistakes. Maybe like they don't advance in their profession, or they have a lot of debts. They are unhealthy, or whatever that might be. You see what I'm saying? But they are okay like that, and of course, people are free. They can decide whatever they want. I mean, everyone decide for themselves what better is, or what success. We've been talking about that lately. But I'm just wondering if they are unable. I mean, if they are like truly happy the way things are, or they are unable to see it. You see what I'm going with my
yeah,
question? Yeah.
yeah. I
Mm,
think it's really an important and interesting topic we're diving into here. For me, it has always been it's really important to me that I learn to be happy in every circumstance,
mm,
and that I see the good in everything, and things like that. Because I think even if you have more money, you're not going to be automatically more happy.
Yes.
I think it's a flawed thought to think once I have this, I'm going to be happy.
Right.
So for me, it's important to be happy right now and to see the good in the present moment, but to also know that I can stretch myself and there's no finish line. With growth, there's no finish line. You can always grow. That's also a law that John Maxwell talks about, that I think it's the law of expansion, he calls it. The more you grow, the bigger your potential gets. So
Yeah.
it's never gonna end, your journey with growth.
Yeah.
But I do think also there is a kind of unsatisfaction, or the thought it could be better. It doesn't mean
Right.
it's not good right now, but
Right.
it means it could get better.
Right.
And
Right.
that, I think that's, you're right, that should, or that has to be somehow in your thoughts. Because if you don't think it could get better, you're not going to change anything, because then it could get only worse. I think that could also be a reason for people not to change anything, because they fear it gets worse instead of better, it gets worse.
I think there is a nature, a law in nature, that everything that stagnates will die. Like water that do not flow. And after a few days, it will stink. It will be dark, and algae will grow, and bacteria and whatnot, right? Moving water that was fresh and full of life, and so on. I was listening to you and laughing or smiling a little bit, because I was thinking about you in our podcast last week, because you were talking about that. You were jogging, a few minutes, but the more you do it, your fitness level grows, and the more fun you have while doing it, and the more you want to keep going and to keep advancing in your fitness agenda. So that's what I'm thinking about. A level of insatisfaction, which is not bad necessarily. It's just like I want more.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, on the other hand, like you just mentioned, people that will say, and that's another topic, I guess. I'm fine, and they just stagnate. That's what worries me, I guess.
Yeah. I think you're right. It doesn't, you can't really stay on the same level. It's like we talked about Spanish, my Spanish skills. I stood still, but standing still in your language skills means decreasing. My Spanish is not better than it used to be, and it's not the same as it was. It's actually worse because I haven't done anything to practice it. The same goes with my French skills. I used to be really good in French because we had to learn it in school, but that's over 10 years ago. Right now, if I go to France, I'm happy if I can order my menu in French.
Really?
Because I used to be really good.
Well, no, yes. I mean, in Switzerland, you have 3 languages. I mean, official languages, right? Four official languages, right? Which is German, Swiss German, French, and Italian, right?
It's actually it's German, or Swiss German is one, then French, Italian, and then we have one that is called in German, it's called Rätoromanisch.
So okay.
It's a language that only a really, really small portion of people speak, and it's not taught in schools.
Okay.
And there's not, like with German, French, and Italian, there's like an area where people really speak it, and whole cantons, that's like states, so to call, that speak it. With the fourth language, they also speak German, because
wow. No, but you're right. I mean, any skill in life, in language, even our soft skills, right? I mean, we have to practice, otherwise it will stagnate, just like our muscles, right? If we are doing a sport, um, our muscles will just slowly decrease and will not have the same elasticity, the same
Yeah.
strength, and so on and so forth. So, I guess, yeah, I was thinking about that law of nature. It's like, and what was that from John Maxwell? The law of expansion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which pass to that, right? I mean, you have to be willing to grow to the next level, right?
Hmm. And that also means that you have more capacity, your potential grows with that,
Hmm.
which is also very interesting and
Yeah,
great to know that my potential is not limited to a certain level. I
right.
can grow and grow my potential.
And I think anyone have experienced this, I believe, in life, right? I mean, once you get in the flow, and then it will produce more of that, right? Whether that
Yeah.
is sports, or if you are creating money, if you're wise and smart with money, then you will create more money, art, and friendships, fitness, whatever. So yeah, interesting. Mm,
Yeah. That's amazing.
mm. Well,
So I think we're getting to the end of today's episode. Do you have one last thing you want to share?
yeah, well, two things, if I may. First, send us your comments in this regard. Why is it difficult, if that is, to be aware of your situation? Or maybe questions. What do you do in this case um, to nurture your awareness? I will be interested in knowing that, and then alongside that, I will say, just try to take some time during the day, during the week, maybe when early in the morning, or maybe when before going to bed, when everything is quiet, some time to reflect on your life, and just think about it. How satisfied are you with your life, and discover areas where you might want to improve. Write it down, and just something that we've been talking in the past. Just try to think about a preferable future. In what ways would you like to change that? I think that's always a good beginning, just to be aware of where you are in life and where you want to go. So I encourage you
Mhm.
to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. So,
Thank you.
yeah, we're at the end of our podcast. It was fun for me. I hope it was fun to listen to too. I hope it was fun for you too, Armando.
I have fun always.
So, yes, thank you guys for listening in and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.